going on? Long time no see, guys. I gotta let's see. Gotta do my. Darren's normally here doing his makeup, so I gotta put my setting spray on. Okay, so thank you all for joining us. We are now live. I can see Adam hiding down there in the backstage there. So thank you. Comment where you're from. I see Lynn McNally from Chandler. My name is Jared Mulqueen with Mulqueen Sewing. We're a third generation business. I've got both my grandparents that work full time, both my dad and his two brothers, a couple cousins, my sisters. There's a whole gaggle of us, and then a bunch of other employees that are also family. So we are located in Mesa, Arizona, as well as we have a store in Tempe and Glendale, and then online at mulqueen.com. So we're everywhere. If you have any sewing, quilting, embroidery needs, we've got the answers for that. So let's see. We've got Glendale, Arizona, Arkansas. I love my LAURASTAR ironing system. We love LAURASTAR as well. So, alrighty. Well, I am going to go ahead and bring Adam on here, and we will get this party started. So, without further ado, here's Mr. Adam.
Hello, everybody. Yay. Good morning. It's weird because these are noise canceling, and I can't, it's like I'm talking to myself. But hey, I can still hear you. So, how are you this morning? I'm so excited to be here.
I'm good. How about yourself?
I'm good. It's Saturday morning, and it's early, and I'm here. So I made it up.
I know.
You made it up.
I made it up. I was surprised. I was fighting traffic the whole way, and I'm like, it's 6 o'clock in the morning. Why is there traffic? So, because I'm never up that early. So,
because you're in a place where the snowbirds come down. Are you starting to find more people come in?
Oh yeah, Arizona doesn't change colors for the seasons. We change license plates. So
right.
we get like all walks of life. So we're getting the Minnesota plates coming down, some Canada plates. So starting basically the end of the month through April of next year, we'll be having tons. I'm sure the same for you too.
Yeah, Palm Springs is very much the same. It's always funny because it gets to a point where we take the golf cart if we need to go anywhere because we can get there faster than if we take a car.
Right.
And you always have a parking spot and stuff. So, but yeah, we've seen traffic increase a little bit. But I'm so excited to be here to talk about LAURASTAR. We were just at the quilt show a few weeks ago. Had so much fun with you guys. I missed Mulqueen. And I'm excited to bring this to the masses. I think as quilters, as anything, because quilters use it, people who knit and crochet use it, people who, hi, Barbara. I'm like trying to read the screen. People who knit and crochet use it because you can use it to block your yarn. I use it for my cross stitching. So plus we actually iron clothes here at our house. So it's a fabulous iron for clothes too. It just really helps out all the quilters. And I think it's interesting because I never scoff at it. They're expensive irons, but they're built to last. So it's one of those things you might pay a little bit more in the beginning. But this blue iron here is 2.5 years old, and I still use it. I don't use it as much as I used to because I have this beauty, and this is 1.5 years. You have that one.
This one's a few years old, and it's been in a classroom. So, I mean, that thing's been used and abused.
Destroyed, used and abused, right? It's your rental car.
Yeah, there you go. There's no marks, anything. I mean, it looks and feels brand new and acts just as if right out of the box.
Right. So where do we want to start? Am I just going? Are we just going for it?
You just take it. I'll hand it off to you, and everyone gets to enjoy you for a little bit. So,
oh, nice.
Thank you, sir. I'll get back on here in a little bit with you.
All right, and then if anybody has questions, throw them out. I will see if I can read them. I do have my glasses on.
Yeah, I'll throw them up as people ask questions. So
Perfect.
We'll go from here. So thank you.
Perfect. All right, everybody. So my name is Adam Ratliff. Some of you might know me as ADAMSEWFUN. I have a YouTube channel where I do a lot of educational videos, most of them long arm related, but I love all things sewing, quilting, fiber arts, really. I don't knit. I can't knit. I tried it. It's just never going to happen. But I do everything else. I have been using the LAURASTAR steam generators, like I said, for over 2.5 years. I started with this blue one. I actually didn't know much about LAURASTAR. My partner did, and one day he's like, oh, I want this iron, and I'm like, oh, you should get it. And I'm a big proponent of spend it while you're alive. You work really hard to make money, and you might as well enjoy that money while you're here, right? And he told me about this ironing system, and he's like, yeah, it's kind of expensive. I'm like, you want that for an iron? You know what? You're crazy. This was before we were really into quilting and everything. And I went to a show, I saw it, and I was like, wow, okay, this kind of makes sense. And then I used to teach long arm quilting. So as I traveled around and shops had the LAURASTAR, I would bring all my clothes that I needed to iron for the week. And I would actually iron in the shops because I had a really nice iron to use, and then take everything folded back or hung up, because I'd bring hangers with me, hung up back to my hotel room. And I had really nice, beautifully pressed shirts for the rest of the week while I was working. So we're going to talk about LAURASTARs today. I'm going to talk a little bit about all of the things that we have. We have some great deals, or Mole Queen's doing some great deals for you. So if you go to molequeens.com, no, molequeen.com, I always put the S on it. I believe, and Ger can get into, or Ger can tell you a little bit more how this is working. If you look at the description of any of the products, there's going to be a discount code. You simply need to put that discount code in, and you're going to get another discount on their already bottom line prices. So there are some great prices to be had. So make sure you check those out. We're going to talk about all of the LAURASTARs so you can kind of see what's going on. But what I want to tell you a little bit about is LAURASTAR itself. The business has been around for over 40 years. They are very big in Europe. It's a Swiss engineered ironing company. And what they do is they make a really great iron. They don't change a ton because they found what works, but they do innovate and change a little bit when they find something that works a little bit better. So you're going to see a different sole plate that other irons don't have. You're going to see this whole system and how they've integrated a fan and the board and the iron into one. And they just make a really fantastic iron, and that fantastic iron is built to last. So these are going to be, I always say it's the last iron you ever have to have. I've met multiple people now that have had their irons over 20 years, a lot of them over 15, a ton over 10. So these irons are built for you to be the last iron you're ever going to have. So when you're thinking of quilting and quilters, or when I think of quilters, I think about how we use an iron. We don't use an iron like a normal person because we're not coming in maybe once or twice a week and ironing clothes, or even if we're not just ironing once in the morning, ironing clothes and turning things off. We want to turn that iron on in the morning, and we want to quilt all day. And then at the end of the day, we're going to turn that iron off. So all of our irons, the newer models, have an override. It will automatically turn off after 10 minutes, but you can override that so it stays on all day. And we want our irons on all day, every day. I use this iron every single day because hopefully every day I'm doing a little bit of piecing. It's one of my goals, is to piece a little bit. So LAURASTAR is known for its steam. I'm going to shoot it out right here. It does some weird stuff to the mic, so I hope you can still hear me. We call it a dry microfine steam. It's a twice heated steam. It's not going to spit or drip on your fabric. It's not going to distort your seams. It's not going to shrink your fabric. And my favorite thing is, as flowing out, it's not going to burn you because of how that steam is created. All of our, you can't see the water tank, but all of our, I can show you right here. All of our irons have a removable water tank. It's a little bit different on a system. I'll pull it off. But it does have a water tank you can remove. You can see that there's water in there. They all have anti-calcium filters. I'll just pop this one out. So they're all going to have an anti-calcium filter. So one of the fantastic things about a LAURASTAR is that you can use your regular tap water. You don't have to get bottled water. We don't use distilled water, so never distilled water. I know a lot of you are going to be from the Arizona area because of Mole Queen being down there. So some of you are going to have water softening systems, or you're going to have reverse osmosis systems. We can't use those waters because we need the minerals in the water for our boilers to know that they're full. It bounces the minerals around, the mineral content in the water, and that's how, when it gets to the certain level, that's how it knows it's full. So we can't use those two waters. So in those cases, or if you're somebody who's like, I have really hard water and I just don't trust it, we're gonna use bottled spring water. I was down there, I can't remember what brand, Crystal Geyser maybe, Arrowhead, Ozarka, depending on where you are in the nation, Poland Springs, I think that's the green label. As I travel around, these are the waters I'm buying when I go to shows and stuff. So you're gonna get bottled spring water. Again, we need those minerals, but I'm going to pull this water tank off. And this is my water tank. This is the smart system. So this is one of our systems, and we'll get into that in a minute. The filter is a little bit different here. I'll hold that as much as I can. I think I tore my rotator cuff. But this is a new filter, so you'll see it nice and charcoaly. These filters on the systems will change color as you are going, as you are using it. When it's brown and the whole thing turns brown, that's when you change your filter. All of the LAURASTAR filters are going to last about 3 to 6 months, depending on usage. So they're going to last a long time. You're not having to buy special waters and stuff, which is fantastic. And since I have this out and I can feel that it's a little light, I'm actually going to fill this up really quick because I have a seat right behind me. I don't know if you can hear it beeping at me, telling me, hey, there's no tank there. But it does beep when you take the water off. It does beep when you need more water. So that twice heated steam is going to be created. All of our irons have a boiler. You can't see this one. Again, it's going to be down there, down under this hose. And we'll talk about this one because this one's here. In this case, this is where our boiler is. On our lift system, so these are going to be portable, these are what we call the lift, it's going to hold almost 38 ounces of water. In our regular systems, we're holding right around 40 ounces of water. So water is going through our filters, getting sucked in that boiler, boiler's heating everything up, creating high pressure steam. That steam comes through the cord, and when the steam hits the hotness or the heat of the sole plate, it's getting reheated. And basically it's taking a water molecule of the steam and breaking it and making it smaller. So it comes out more of a gas than a vapor, which is why you get this beautiful steam that doesn't burn. It is steam, so it is warm. If it starts condensing, it does get very hot. So it's still steam. So I want you to be careful, but be aware that like if you were to spray it, it's probably not going to burn you. You know, if you're steaming out clothes or stuff, because I can grab a hanger and shoot steam through and steam out my clothes, which is what I used to do with this one. So that dry microfine steam is the same steam throughout all of our ironing systems, all of our irons. So whether it be this lift right here, our red one, which is our entry-level lift, or the top of the line Smart 1980 system, you're still going to get that same dry microfine steam. There's just some features that you're missing as you go up the line. So we're going to talk about the system because that's what I have here, and then we'll kind of work our way down. But when we talk about a system, there's a fan that's integrated into the board. And when I touch the handle of the smart systems, the fan activates. It actually, I don't know if you can see how the top is kind of coming up right there, but if I put something on top of that, that fan is currently blowing up. I have threads all over stuff because I was quilting last night. That fan is currently blowing up. So when I touch the handle, you're going to see this float up. I do have a button right on my handle that will suck it down. So I can have that fan blow up to give me a cushion of air to work with, or I can have it suck down to hold my delicate fabrics down. I'm going to have it blow that up because I want to show you how powerful this steam is. So I have that nice cushion. I want to make sure all the fittings are good. And I'm just simply going to steam and shoot that steam through my shirt. Let me show you. This is the before. Oh God, this is a good demonstration with the camera. All right, so here I go. So I'm not actually touching the board. I'm just kind of shooting the steam through my shirt. Look at the difference. It took all of those wrinkles out. And that's because that dry microfine steam can penetrate all of the fibers, relax them really quick, but it also dries really quick because of the size of the molecules of water. When I have a sleeve, you know, we hate doing sleeves, I can just kind of shoot that steam through. And now my sleeve is nice. This is a silk shirt. So, you know, you might need to press a little bit more on a different type of material, but it just to show you the power of that steam. And again, that steam is available in any of our fabrics or any of our irons. Now, I did say that this is a silk shirt. I'm going to have it suck down for a minute. This iron's a little bit unique, and we don't have a temperature dial here. And that's because, we'll see if I can, there we go. There's no temperature dial here. So on a few of our irons, we have what we call the one ideal temperature setting. And that setting is going to be the setting that you're going to use for everything. So I have a silk shirt. I can come in and I can actually still iron right on my shirt. And I'm not going to hurt that shirt at all. If there's a wrinkle that didn't steam out, I can still touch that iron to that shirt. That's such a difference where the wrinkly part is. I can still touch the iron to the shirt. So if you're like, oh, well, I'm just not into that. I got to re-wrinkle this. I'm worried. I'm worried I might burn the fabric, or I'm worried I might scorch the fabric. All of our irons do come with this accessory. This is a Teflon protective sole plate. So when I pop this onto my iron, easy to clip on. It's going to reduce the temperature of the iron about 100 degrees to the point where I could stick this on a piece of vinyl. And I think I let someone borrow my vinyl bags, so I don't have them. But these are just two pieces of like bag vinyl with a square on top. And that square has been put on with Steam-A-Seam. And so with that sole plate on, I can put these directly onto a piece of vinyl, and it's not going to melt anything because that's how low the temperature is. I can still use steam with the Teflon protective sole plate. I can still do all of my regular ironing with it. It just gives me a cool iron. So, you know, we talked about how that dry microfine steam is made, and one of the ways, or the part that really makes it, is the fact that it's twice heated, and we need the heat of that sole plate. So even when you have an iron, let's say like our Lift Plus, that has that temperature gauge, I always tell people, leave it hot all the time. Just leave it as hot as it can go, because that guarantees you get the best dry microfine steam out there. When you need a cooler iron, all of them have that Teflon sole plate. Just pop this sole plate on, and you can go and do all of your ironing with that. You can iron, if you do t-shirt quilts, you can iron over the print. I would test it a little bit, but you can iron right over that print. There's so many things that you can iron on that you would think, oh no, it's gonna melt. You would never touch an iron to that. Some like use some stabilizer that says do not iron, but it was very wrinkled, and I'll iron on that. I iron out batting for the long arm, soft and stable. It's fantastic on. So anything that I just feel like, ooh, I probably don't want to put a hot iron on this. It's, you know, maybe a polyester mesh or something. I put that sole plate on, and it just lets me do all of that. So back to our system. Let me show you a little things, because we're quilters. Let me show you why quilters love this. And I can say that I know this is why they love it, because I am a quilter, and it's why I love it. And all I have to do is find the fabric. I got all my stuff nice and ready, and apparently not that piece. Well, it's going to show up, and then that will be really fun, because I don't see it. This is what happens when you have a bunch of gray stuff and you keep it all together. So this is just a nice big piece of quilting cotton. One of my favorite things about a LAURASTAR is that I can save so much time with my projects, because when I'm done ironing, everything's nice and dry, because that feels like one of the things that I used to have to deal with. If I had a piece like this, you can see how it's kind of wrinkled. Oh, there's a good light. If I had a piece like this, most of the time I would be getting my piece out. This is usually coming out of my stash. And I would get it out. I would spray it with Best Press or Flatter or something, and let it dry a little bit, get itself nice and nice and ready to be pressed, and then I press out all of those wrinkles. But with my LAURASTAR, I have the power of that dry microfine steam. When I have the system, I also have the benefit of that fan. So I'm going to grab this, and I can see this is 4 layers. I just folded it into 4 layers as if I were like maybe opening a fat quarter bundle. Again, I can have it float up, and that fan, it does blow enough where it's going to float even 4 layers, but I'm going to have it suck down. And I'm going to have it suck down because I want it to suck the heat and the steam through all of those layers at once. So I can come in, I'm simply going to steam across this. And it's going to suck, again, the steam and the heat through all those layers. And so if I have a fat quarter bundle, I always say, what if I bought that Tula Peak, like 24-piece fat quarter bundle, or the Allison Glass fat quarter bundle? I can press that one side. There we go. See how it's nice and flat. But it's going to press through all 4 layers. So if you're doing wide backs, you can fold them in fourths and press them all out. If you have fat quarters, if you're doing a block of the month, I'm currently doing a block of the month, I lay 4 or 5 layers out at once and press them all and then get the next set. It just saves time. And the fabric is dry. And that's a very important thing, because if I'm doing a lot of yardage and the yardage starts to pool at your feet, and you finish ironing that piece, and then you go up and you go to cut it and it's wrinkled at the bottom again, because that fabric was damp and it was sitting there damp, drying at your feet, we don't get those wrinkles as much anymore because it's dry fabric just kind of laying itself at your feet. So it is fantastic for that. We're going to come back to this piece. I just don't know where my other really wrinkly piece was. When we're piecing, and this is, let's see, speaking of Tula, oh, look, there's oh my gosh. I'm like reading the sales. I'm not going to read the sales. I am going to get a drink though. So when we're piecing, that fan in the board can really help us out. A lot of times people are like, what do you need a fan for anyway? How to shut, I am going to read that question. It says, can you please show how to bypass the 10-minute auto shut off? So when you're turning your system on, whether it be a system or a lift, when you turn it on, you usually just hit the power button and then the lights start blinking saying it's heating up. Hold the power button down on either one. Hold that power button down. It's going to take about 10 seconds. If you have a lift, these other 2 lights are going to turn red. If you have a system, you're going to see all your lights flash. Once that happens, take your finger off the power button and you've overridden the power. It will stay hot all day, every day, until you turn it off. Every time you turn it on, you do have to override that because you're basically overriding a safety feature. So you don't find this anywhere in any of the literature just because you're basically saying, I don't want to use that safety feature. And so they don't write it in there, but that is how you override it. And it will stay on forever. All of them come with the silicone mat. Your iron sitting on that silicone mat all day is going to be fine. This one sits right here with the built-in mat. And like I said, I turn it on in the morning and turn it off whenever I go to bed. So, and sometimes I forget. Don't be an Adam. Don't forget. All right. So I have just a little block as if I were piecing. Now, a few things. When I piece, I like to make all my pieces, and then I like to lay them out across the board. So again, we can have that board blow up, but I can also have that board suck down. So if I put 16 pieces out here, or 10 pieces, depending on the size, I'm going to lay them out in the way so I can flip and kind of press them in this assembly line. So with that fan on and sucking down, it's going to kind of hold everything in place. So I call it the third hand because it's another thing holding stuff down. One of the things I've always really disliked was pressing seams open, and not because of the results I got, but because I would always burn my hands. And you out there, if you've ever pressed a seam open, you know what I'm talking about. You have to worry about where the seam's going, what's happening. So when I have a piece, and I'm going to make sure my fan is blowing down, because if it's blowing up, it's just going to blow our pieces everywhere. But we can change that direction with that handlebar button. So I'm going to put my piece down. And I can put my piece down and I can kind of open it. I'm going to try to keep this towards you. And it's going to hold it kind of open because the fan is sucking everything down. And then it's also, I'm going to hit that steam button. I can put my hand as close as I want to that iron, but that steam is pulling everything away from my hand. So I don't have to worry so much about burning myself because everything's getting pulled and shot out the bottom of the iron. So I'm going to get this started with my finger. And I can go as slow as I need to across this seam. If I had other seams coming on the sides, I can make sure that everything is laid nice and flat. And when I'm done, I get this beautifully pieced and pressed seam. The piece is super flat. And you'll notice I didn't preset my seam. I didn't come back from the top and hit it. The piece is dry, so I didn't have to get a clapper and put a clapper on top. I just get a perfectly pieced, a perfectly pressed piece every time. And my fabrics are straight, so I didn't distort my seams. I didn't distort my fabric. It just kept everything super nice and flat. Now, can you come back and steam it on top? Of course you can. You can do whatever you want. It's your quilt, but you don't have to. The other thing that I find interesting about a LAURASTAR is because of the way it works and our 3D sole plate, you almost feel like you've starched your fabric. It just makes it so nice and crisp. Can you use, do I use starch? Not so much, not as much as I used to. I just feel like I don't need it, but you definitely can. There's certain lines out there that I feel like if I don't use a starch, that they're just gonna kind of fray on me. So I always starch those. It's still gonna work. It's still gonna be fine. It's an iron. At the end of the day, it's an iron. Now I talked about the 3D sole plate, and I just actually recorded a video for my YouTube channel about this because this is the biggest question we get. So you're gonna see that sole plate's a little bit different. And there is a raised edge on this, and we call that our 3D sole plate. When I fold a king size quilt, will it press through the layers? It will depend on, sorry, let me answer this question. So will it press through all of the layers of a king quilt? It depends on what batting you're using, what fabric it is, how bulky the seams are and stuff. So I would try it to see. The fan's still gonna help. But sometimes I'm thinking a quilt's going to be at least 6 layers and 2 of those layers are going to be batting. So it might be a little bit harder to get through the all 6 layers of a king quilt. But I would try it. I mean, it's not going to hurt anything. It's not going to do any burn it. I assume the board cover can be removed and washed, especially if using starch buildups. Yes, you can wash any of the LAURASTAR board covers. Don't tumble dry them, just let them air dry, but all of them are machine washable. They also are very, very high quality. You'll see me that I do this a lot where I'm not actually putting the iron on its rest. If I'm going through pieces and I'm pressing, I'll leave the iron sitting here, or if I'm doing applique, which we're going to talk about in a second, I'll leave the iron sitting here. If you forget and just leave the iron sitting here and say, go into the other room and start piecing again, and you come back 20 minutes later and the iron's still there, move it. But your ironing board's probably going to be okay. A LAURASTAR ironing board. I'm talking about this one because these are things I've done. The 3D sole plate, you're going to see a little indentation V of the 3D sole plate. That will work itself out over time. So there's been a few times where I've just left it sitting there. But they are just very good covers, very high quality. Do you have a special ironing board to go with it? So any of our systems include the ironing board. So this system has the board, the iron, everything's integrated. So if I were to fold this up, the iron's included in that. It folds up into a nice, beautiful package. With our lifts, you're going to be using your own board, or LAURASTAR does sell ironing boards that are very similar to these. They just don't include the iron in it. I don't even know if we have those up on the Mold Queen website yet, but they are available. So I'm sure if you message out to Ger saying, hey, you're interested, we can get you pricing and everything on that. So let's talk about this 3D sole plate. Oh, there. Thanks, Ger. Let's talk about this 3D sole plate, because this is going to be the weirdest part of your new LAURASTAR iron. Oh, thank you, Ger. So this is the system. So that's what I'm currently ironing on. And everything is integrated into one. So if I fold that up, I could roll it around the house and take it to wherever I need it. Usually mine just sits in my sewing room. Unless I'm doing a live, it comes out here to our entryway because that's where it works. So 3D sole plate. It does have a raised part that protrudes from the iron. So it's different than your typical your iron sole plate. So you have to do a little bit of things different. I always say you have to get used to that 3D sole plate. It takes some time, but man, is it worth it. So what that 3D sole plate's doing is a few things. One, I'm going to see how far I can reach this out so you can see. So there's a groove that runs the full length of that sole plate. So from left to right, you can see the steam holes. So the first thing it's doing is it's redistributing the steam. So in a typical iron, you have holes. And as you steam across, steam comes out the holes, and then the iron goes, right? Well, with the 3D sole plate, it has the holes, but it has the groove. So instead of coming out like this, you have steam coming out like this. And I equate it to going through a car wash. When you drive through the car wash and the water's falling down and everything's just kind of cascading over you, that's what we're doing with our steam. So the 3D sole plate is actually lower than the rest of the sole plate, the 3D part. So that is holding fabric, keeping fabric in contact with the board, holding it down, providing this curtain of steam that goes across your fabric. So every piece of fiber is getting relaxed by that steam. And then the back of the iron instantly dries it because the dry microfine steam dries like that. And it instantly dries it and leaves this really crisp, beautiful look. So a few things that we don't want to do with the 3D sole plate. A lot of us are used to pressing real hard. We're going to put our whole body weight when we iron because the harder you press, the flatter that piece is going to get. We don't want that. Our irons are about 2.2 pounds. They're going to do all of the heavy lifting for you. They've made it really feel really nice in your hand. We have steam buttons on the left or the right side. So either side I can hit steam with. And I hit them both, just depends on how I grab the iron. I tend to hold it a little bit like this so I can iron with my thumb or I can iron with my pointer finger. But because that 3D sole plate is holding fabric down as we move, we want to drive with that sole plate. So I'm going to say drive towards the point of your iron and pretend your iron has wheels, okay, like a little car. I'm going to drive to the point as I use it, opposed to doing one of these. This is how I used to iron. And if you do that with that 3D sole plate, that 3D sole plate is kind of dragging the fabric. So I'm not going to go right and left like this. I'm going to turn that iron and drive to the point. And it took some getting used to. It's something that is just so natural now that I'll tell people about it as I'm ironing stuff. And I'll go, yeah, you have to turn your wrist. And I've already done it because I'm just so used to doing the full length of the board. We do have a nice, on our systems, they come with a nice cord holder that will get the full length of the board. So that's very nice. I can go the full length of the board or I can turn my iron and go vertical. But we always want to drive to the point. That's going to give us our best results with that 3D sole plate. So I talked about the weight of the iron, how it feels really good. So for those of you who do any type of applique, this is one of my favorite things is, one, I don't needle turn. I slapplique. I call it slapplique because we're slapping it on and we're just going to hit it with some steam. So this is just a hexie. I cut with my AccuQuilt. I know I'm such a big fan of AccuQuilt. I know Mole Queen has that too. Get one of those. Get a LAURASTAR AccuQuilt bundle. They should make that. So this is an AccuQuilt piece with steam a seam. So I pre-fused everything, ran it through the AccuQuilt to get my hexie. Now, when we're usually doing anything that has a fusible, you know, we do the count to 10. It's like, put your weight on it, count to 10. Put your weight on it. Hey, Siri, 10 seconds. Put your weight on it. Go have dinner, come back and move it a little bit. We want to make sure everything is nice and fused, right? With your LAURASTAR, again, our irons are about 2.2 pounds. So the weight of the iron is doing all of the work for us. But we can always use that dry microfine steam to our advantage. So I'm going to put my piece down. And one of the things, we get some condensation that could build up in this hose because it's hot steam sitting in there. So I'm always going to shoot it out, shoot it over to the side, make sure that I clear that hose of any condensation. So now I'm going to come and I'm going to steam this. And this isn't going to be as fun as it is in person because I can't give this to you and have you try to peel this off. But that fast, I am fused. Our hexie is fused onto that fabric. So if you are any type of applicator who uses any type of seam or any of the double-sided fusibles or any actual fusibles, because maybe you're making a bag and you're using SF101 or you're using some fusible fleece, anything like that. This is going to help that fusible set so much faster. So now that piece is set, I can take it over and I can do a blanket stitch or I can run my long arm lines across it, but that piece isn't going anywhere. So easy to get those pieces fused. It's so much faster. I don't have to do the count to 10. You'll notice I don't do a lot of pressing. I'm an ironer. I'm moving the iron all the time. I find that you get better results ironing than pressing with the LAURASTAR. And because we don't have to worry about our seams getting distorted, I don't have to worry that I'm not, doing my pressing across seams. I'm just going to go slow. I'm going to use my seam, help set those seams and everything. And then really quick, one last thing. When we're doing binding, maybe you're doing hemming, we have to kind of take our time making those binding strips because I can't just come with an iron and shoot across there. If I go fast, I need to use some steam. I need to go slow. I don't want to distort the fabric, but I need that piece to stay crisp and in there. I can do that with that same speed with the LAURASTAR because I can use that dry microfine steam. I get a perfectly creased, pressed piece super fast. Now, would I do that normally that fast? No, because I can't hold it good enough to keep it. But as I'm making binding strips, I just kind of hold it and shoot across. And then I pull my strip, fold it, shoot across. And because it's making these really nice crisp seams every time, or crisp, yeah, I'm gonna call it a seam. Every time, it just, again, such a time saver. A few other things with that fan, why we love the fan. We're coming back to this. When we're doing yardage, oftentimes, or a quilt, oftentimes we have that first piece, and we're going to put it here, and the weight of the quilt or the weight of the length of fabric is kind of pulling it down off the board, right? So I'm going to have that fan suck down. It's going to hold my fabric down. So again, that's the third hand. So I am free to iron out that first piece. Once that first piece is done, I'm going to hit and I'm going to float that fabric. You're going to see it blow up. And now I have this cushion of air that is going to help me maneuver that fabric around. So I can come in. I do a little bit more crazy ironing when I'm on that cushion of air because I have that cushion of air. And I can simply just come across, iron out the rest of my fabric or my quilt. It makes it so fast, so easy. I get great results every time. When I get to the end, we're going to flip it. I need that third hand to hold that fabric down. And that fast, I can get through. I think this is almost 2 yards. Fabric's done. If you have a piece, now I'm just throwing stuff on the ground. If you have a quilt, so this is a quilt with all the seams pressed open. So one of the things as a long arm quilter is when I am pressing fabric that has seams pressed open, drives me crazy. Can you use it over pins? Ooh, a glass head maybe? I don't know. I've never even tried to press over pins. I would assume you can, not the plastic ones because you don't want to melt it. It's still, the iron plate is still hot. But like a glass head pin or any of the ones that are iron safe, it's not going to melt them. It might get caught up on them. I don't know. I haven't tried. Good question. You stumped me. So this has all the seams pressed open. As a long arm quilter, I would hate this because I would be trying to press them out. I like everything flat, super flat. I would try to press them out, and I would always end up like catching or folding the edge over as I'm pressing it. So again, I have my fan blowing down right now. It's going to hold everything flat. I'm going to press out this first edge. But whenever I flip that fan to come back in and do my, help me pull that fabric, because I have that cushion of air, I hit the button, now it's going to flip. Because I have that cushion of air, it's not folding, it's not pulling tight on that front edge of the board, so it's not flipping any of those seams over. So I can go through and press this and not have to worry that I'm pressing those seams the wrong direction. Everything's going to be nice and flat, but this time it's going to be pressed. I get a free little facial when the fan is blowing up because it's blowing that steam back up through the fabric. I feel like it's double steaming because you're shooting the steam through, but the fan is blowing it back up. I hit that button, so now it's sucking down. I didn't even tell, I told you it's second nature. So now I have my nice pressed piece. None of the seams are flipped. They're all beautifully pressed down, and now it's ready for long arm quilting if that's where it was going, or ready to get crumbled up again because that's my demo piece. A few other things that I want to show you before we talk about the different irons. If you're an embroiderer, and this is one of the OESD tea towels. This is very wrinkled. Let's see. The hardest thing for this is for me to get it flat. I can come in, it's gonna iron everything out. We've been trying different fabrics. I get texts every once in a while. My partner quilts, not as much as I do, but he irons everything. And he doesn't like to use the LAURASTAR because he doesn't like to come in the sewing room. So there's that. If I leave it in the sewing room, he won't use it because my sewing room is a mess and he doesn't like messes. But I'll get a text every once in a while like, hey, just want to let you know I use the LAURASTAR. And it's always like, oh, what were you ironing that you felt like you had to use the LAURASTAR? And look how flat that is compared to what it was. Anytime we iron linen, we're always going to do it on the LAURASTAR. It's so fantastic for linen. All right, there's that one. If you do wool applique, you can iron your wool. These aren't good samples to show you because you can't see the wrinkles good, but you can see that it's nice and flat. Like I said, this is that t-shirt. If I had that 3D sole plate on, I can go right over that printing of the t-shirt. So if you are a t-shirt quilter, one, you're going to save time by when you're fusing all of that fusible onto the back of the shirts. But when you're done, you can just steam right over the top and not have to worry about trying to do it from the back or not hit everything. This is just another block that I press those seams open on. So say you're doing a block like this, you get to a part where you have to put the pieces together. So now you have seams going every which way. Again, I can have that pull down. I can go as slow as I need to keep that piece nice and flat and not fold any of those other seams. And then I can flip it over and do the rest from the top. This is some hand-dyed fabric. So, those feel a little bit different, almost like a suede. Still going to give you really, really beautiful flat blocks. Crumbled. Benefit is getting rid of the permanent crease in the bolt. Barbara loves that she can get the center crease out of the fabric. I will tell you, most of the time it's going to take it out. If you have a fabric that's been on that bolt for a while, sometimes you might need a little bit of help. Sometimes you might need to spray it with a little bit of water. I like to be totally transparent. I can always get it out, but sometimes I need a little bit of help. If I have some of the stuff in my stash that is 10 years old, I probably need a little bit of help. My problem is I used to iron. I would iron and then fold my fabric. So, a typical iron is going to leave things a little bit wet. So I have basically set all of those folds into a lot of my fabrics that are in my stash because I ironed it, folded it, stuck it onto a shelf. So there's that. I do, like I said, I cross stitch. So if you're a cross stitcher, these sew tight magnets, a secret little gem. If you're a cross stitcher, I fold my fabrics or my iron cloth around and hold it with my sew tight magnets. And then I can also use those to hold my needles if I'm doing different colors. But I'm going to pull this out of my hoop really quick because I am somewhat new to needle or cross stitch, and I didn't realize that you could iron these flat. So let me pull this. So I have a friend who cross stitches, and if I see her at shows, she's always running over like, oh, let me use your iron. I need to press my cross stitch blocks. So very nice and wrinkled. This has been folded up for a while and been all over the States. So I'm just going to come in. I can press this because it's not going to distort. I don't have to worry about like stretching my fabric or stretching my pieces, shrinking the floss. It gives such a nice flat piece. And now I can rehoop it and move on to that next section. So there's just a lot of different uses throughout the house that my LAURASTAR can help on. I'm going to put this over here. I'll be here in a second. Since it has all those magnets. So let's talk LAURASTARs and talk about the differences in them. So this is what we call a system. This is the Smart 1980 system. Ger, if you can you pop that picture back up again if it's not too hard? This is our top of the line unit. This has all the bells and whistles. Thank you. So this is the Smart 1980. We have another unit called the Smart U. They are very similar. They have all of the same benefits and features. The only difference is the Smart 1980 comes with the dust jacket. And so if you do fold it up, most quilters never fold their irons up, but if you do, it has a dust jacket that will sit around it. It's a very nice neoprene dust jacket. Thank you, Jerry. You can drop that down. These irons are going to give you multiple modes of steaming. So I have a regular steam. I can come in and we have a pulse steam. I'm going to see if I can get it to pulse. With these, it only pulses when you're putting it down the board. But what it's going to do is it's going to go and it's going to shoot out pulses of steam. So I like to use this. This is our Smart U. Thank you, Ger. I like to use that pulse steam. Usually when I'm on using, when I used to use it and steam out backs on the long arm, I would use that pulse steam. I liked it there. Some people like that it just uses half the amount of water. So we do have that pulse steam option. And then the Smart U and the 1980 also have what we call a sense steam. Now I can hit my steam buttons on the right or left, but when I have the sense steam activated, the iron can tell when you're driving to the point and it only steams then. So it's going to steam out and stop coming back. Steam out and stop coming back. Steam out and stop. If I'm going vertically, same thing. It's going to steam while you're moving the iron away from you and not steam when you're moving it back. So you don't have to hit any iron buttons. The nice thing is it won't steam if you're moving it left and right because I'm not driving it to the point. So I need to turn my hand and then it'll start steaming for me. Ger just put a picture of the Smart Eye. The Smart Eye is going to be similar to the other Smart systems. It is not going to have the 3D sole plate. I'm going to turn off that sensing. So it's not going to have the 3D sole plate. It's going to have the traditional flat sole plate. You'll see that in a second. So those are their Smart systems. These are fantastic irons. All of the LAURASTARs are going to give you a 1-year warranty, but all of our products are guaranteed repairable for 10 years. So if something happens in the next 10 years, we guarantee we can fix it. We guarantee parts for it because we want this to be the last iron you ever get. There's one more iron, which is the S-Pure, one more system, which is the S-Pure Extra. This is a different system in the LAURASTAR lineup. And this one's going to be a different iron head. It has a little bit of a different shape. It's not as sleek as the Smart system. The fan's going to activate when you touch a steam button instead of when you, thank you, Ger, instead of when you touch the handle. The sole plate's a little bit different. It's going to have a similar sole plate to the Lift Extra or the Lift Plus. I'll show you when we get there and I'll remind you. But it's still a system. You're still going to have all of the great benefits of the board and the fan and everything. So those are going to be our systems. These are going to be our lift options. I'm breaking things. So we have 3 lift options. There we are. Oh, they look so good on there. Let me move everything down. So we're going to start here with our lift. So this is our lift. It comes in red and white. We just call it the lift. It's still going to have the removable water tank, still going to have the anti-calcium filter, still the same size boiler. The iron plate is a traditional iron plate. There we go. So we have a nice flat iron plate with the holes. And you'll see we have the temperature gauge. Remember, what are we going to do? We're always going to leave it hot. When we need it cool, we're going to put on our Teflon protective sole plate. It's still going to come with that. So this is our lift, entry level, great, fantastic steam generator iron. Fantastic, can do everything you need to. When you start adding features, we go up to the next one. This is the Lift Plus. So this is going to add one. You're going to get a universal steam cord holder, because all of these irons are meant for you to use on your own ironing board at home. If you have a big board, if you have a regular ironing board, you can use it on all of those. I do want you, if you get a lift, the first thing I want you to do is fill it up, turn it on, do all that, and then put your iron down on your board and hit your steam button. See what's going to happen with that steam, because depending on the board and how much batting or how much cushion you have, and if it's open or not, that steam has to go somewhere. So I want you to be aware of what's going to happen with that steam before you start using it, because when the steam condenses into one space, it does get hot. So be careful. So this is going to give you a universal steam cord holder. This goes on your normal board. The cord comes up here, and then it's bendable like this big one, so you can access your full board. This is, I think, an $80 value or so. So you're getting that free with these two. So this is going to be the Pinky Pop, the blue, and then the shiny black. We're going to introduce you to the 3D sole plate. Now this has a plastic insert instead of the full metal sole plate. This is mine. This is one I've had for 2.5 years. I'm going to be honest. I find that I get better results with the full aluminum 3D sole plate. Not because it's more, but because that aluminum is also heating up, where the plastic can only get so hot. So it does have that plastic insert here. We're still keeping the temperature gauge. So we still have the regular temperature gauge. So here you're adding the 3D sole plate, you're adding the steam cord holder, and there is a pulse steam option on this one. We have a little toggle switch right here. So you flip the switch, it pulse steams, you switch it back, it regular steams. So that's going to be our Lift Plus. And then right here is our Lift Extra. You'll see that this iron and this iron look the same. They're the same iron. If I took this iron out of the system and made it movable, they're the same. You're just not getting, you don't have the fan, you don't have the board, and you don't have that sense steam. So when you come up to the Plus, the big thing that you're getting is you're getting the full aluminum 3D sole plate. So this is going to help you finish things faster. You can get the same results with any of our stuff. You're going to get it there faster when you have those other improved options on them. So full aluminum 3D sole plate. You still have the pulse steam. No more temperature gauge. We have the one ideal temperature setting, so you don't ever have to change it. All of the lifts have a silicone pad right here that's removable. So when you're using it, this goes on your table. Iron sits on it. There we go. Iron sits there. It can sit there all day. This will get warm, so make sure that it's sitting something that can get warm under it. When you're done with the iron at the end of the day, this, I'm going to turn there, slides back in here. I'm doing it by feel. I hope it's in there, right? And then iron gets popped back in here. So what I say is, when you go on retreat and you're like, I'm not leaving my LAURASTAR. I'm not going on retreat without my LAURASTAR. I just took my LAURASTAR to Vegas 2 weeks ago. When you go on retreat, take your iron with you, have a great time, and then sell tickets to your friends. Make them pay to use the LAURASTAR. And then at the end of the retreat, because you don't want to pack up too early, you want to pack up so car is packed right when you have to leave. You put your silicone mat in here. Iron can store hot. So you can store that iron hot and stick it in the car and head back home. And depending, it might still be warm when you get home, depending on how far away you live. So those are going to be your lift options. You can't go wrong with any of them. Oh, colors. So you're going to have the smart night, or not the smart, the extra 1980, which is the gold one. You're going to have aluminum, which is the silver one, and then we have Titan, which is going to be the black. And it's just the color options. I like the extras because they're going to be a little bit of a matte finish, where the rest of them are going to be the shiny finish. We do have one other thing in our lineup, and I'm going to roll this over there. There is a steam cart option. I wonder if I'm going to turn you really quick. This might be a bad idea. So we have a steam cart. Hi, everybody. I'm going to turn this light. This happens to be the steam cart with our Izzy. Can I move far enough away? Kind of. So this is a steam cart. You can get this for the Izzy or for the lifts. And what it just makes it so easy to move around the house. So I kind of go and I will drive this around the house. I used to have my blue unit in this. But then I got the Izzy, and I love to have a household steamer. So the Izzy's a household steamer. It changes out the iron head for a steam wand. So this is a little bit easier to manage. I love to use this on the long arm now because I can easily go and steam off the backs of that when they're loaded on the long arm, and I'm not having to hold that iron. So if you're a long armor and you're like, well, the long arm's in a different room, and I'd have to move things back and forth. This is great for the long arm. You keep your iron in your sewing room. It's fantastic. It will give you a hard surface and a fabric surface wand. So we actually steam out all the dog beds. I steam the couches and all the chairs because our dogs are allowed to do whatever they want. We are notorious for washing the duvet cover, but then not taking it out of the dryer. So the first day I had this, I steamed off half the duvet just to see how good it would be on the bed. All of the LAURASTAR steam is what's the word for it? It kills bacteria. It is
antimicrobial.
There we go. It's that. So it will kill 99% of germs, bacteria, bed bugs, dust mites. So you can go around and steam your house, your curtains out. Do you want to steam grout with this? Probably not. That's going to hurt your knees. But you can get this steam cart. The Izzy base is going to be very similar to the lift systems. It's just going to change the head to a steam wand. So I love the Izzy. If you have the steam cart, will you jump back over to the cart? There we are. So if you have a steam cart with the Izzy, because they are different steam carts, you have the Izzy steam cart is going to give you a holder to hold that steam wand. If you have it for a lift, you're going to have an iron base. So your iron can sit right here, which is nice because it's about hip height. And then these do shoot out or telescope up, and there's a hanger so you can hang your clothes and steam them off. Let's go back over here. All right, Ger, do we have questions? Oh my gosh, I got to drink something. Let's see, there's the one with the ironing board. Have a way to do that. Ironing board. So does the one, I think that's supposed to be, do the irons without the board have a way to use the fan? And they do not. And there are times you would want to do curtain. Wait, do the ones with the board have a way? Shelly, I'm trying to follow, but I have no clue. Let me see. Is it?
I'm here too. It's like a Sudoku puzzle. I'm trying to figure it out.
Okay, so what I think it is, can the ones on the board move around because she might want to do curtains and stuff? So that's what I'm seeing. They do roll. It's not something that I would like necessarily want to kind of try to roll around the house because it's the full board. They're heavy. But it does shoot the steam out. So if you had a way to hang clothes or something, I could hang them and still shoot steam out. But I'm probably not taking it over to my curtains. We don't even have curtains in this house because we're in Palm Springs and everything is just blinds. So I just, if you're going to use something like that, I would look into one of either the Lifts or the Izzy. Maybe they'll do a bundle deal. If you get one of each, you get a better deal. But if you could take the curtains off, I guess you could bring them over to it. You're kind of stuck where the iron is. All of our iron hoses are 7 feet, so they do reach quite a bit. But I mean, you can only reach so far. I did try to iron a back. I mean, this sits right with my iron's here, and if I turn around, my long arm's here. And I was trying to long arm steam something off really quick, and this was already on. So I popped it out of the cord holder and went over, and I was able to just because I was close enough. But it's not something that I wouldn't want to have to like move this 3 feet, even though 3 feet's not far. I wouldn't want to have to move it 3 feet and then try to like steam off on my long arm, just personally. But I guess it's dependent on how willing you are. I'm currently doing the Kona block of the month. I'm doing it all with AccuQuilt. I've rewritten the instructions, but just like how flat these blocks get. I found a huge difference in, I mean, there's a lot of seams, and that's a lot of half square triangles. I have found a lot of difference in my piecing, how flat things lay, how my piecing has improved because things are just flatter. And I don't have the little puff. You could, if you're a paper piecer, you can do this with paper piecing. I actually have been using it with some Judy Niemeyer paper piecing that I have, and I still use the steam. I was actually worried. It's like if there's something that people ask or people want to try, I always try it because I'm like, if I ruin it, it's not there. So I'm going to try it first. So I was doing some Judy Niemeyer paper piecing. I was still using the steam because the dry steam. I was shocked that like the paper didn't feel wet and I didn't feel anything distort. I was still able to get those, use that steam, but my seams just laid flatter than they had ever done. And I was really excited. I was like online talking to friends who are teachers for Judy Niemeyer. Oh my gosh, you got to try this. Or my friends who teach legit kits. You got to try this. This is amazing. Can you share what the ironing board looks like under the cover? I can try. I don't think we have a picture. It's like one of the Great boards, Grady things. Okay, I'm going to try to pick you up and bring you over. And to see what cords are all hooked up. So there we are. So it's a grate. So like steam can easily go through this, and then that's the fan right there. And we'll see if you can see it. Can you tell when it moves? You can't tell when it moves because it started moving. But that is the fan. Although the fan's here, it does activate and will reach the full length of the board. These, for those of you, when you get your new board, these are universal board covers. So you're going to stick it on, and it's a drawstring. And you're going to pull that drawstring and then pull one side, pull the other. Pull one side, pull the other. Get it nice and tight around your board. I leave mine a little looser because I fold it up when I show and demo things. So you probably don't need yours as loose as mine. And it's going to be very wrinkled. Just turn your iron on, steam those wrinkles out. Oh, that's one of my favorite things. The portable one seems just a regular steamer, but more expensive. I already have a Lisa Pro. How is it different? So I don't know the Elisa Pro. I've had some other steamers in my life. What's different about it? It's going to be a different type of steam. Oh, this is really quick before I get into that question. This is the Iggy. This is a handheld steamer. So you can go around, steam things throughout the house, steam your clothing, and a nice travel steamer. We took ours somewhere. We went on a trip and we took ours, and I couldn't find mine, Ger, which is why I don't have it. So back to that last question. All systems are going to be a little bit different. The biggest difference is our dry microfine steam. Nobody can compete with the type of steam that we produce. We give you that warranty. You have a year warranty plus 10 years guaranteed repairable. So if something does break, then we will repair it. We guaranteed we can repair it. But most of it is going to be the quality and the length that machine is going to be used for. There's not many irons on the market that can say that they're going to last you more than it. As quilters, most of them don't even last more than 2 years. I've had 4 or 5 steam generators in the past, and I was spending around $200 to $300 a piece on them. And so when I was like, okay, we're gonna get the LAURASTAR, it was like, okay, well, this is expensive, but even if it lasts me, like I've already invested enough money that I've paid for this over the years. So even if this one lasts me 5 years, it's going to be close to what I would have paid for regular irons. I was getting maybe 12 months out of that. They're not as reliable, says Ger. What was that last question, Ger? I missed it because I was talking. What are the all measurements of the smart units? Do they come with the cord and holder? They do come with the cord and holder. That's a good question. You can find that out. I'm trying to think. We would have that online. You can check LAURASTARUS.com. They will have the overall measurements there because I'm not 100% sure. And last time I tried to tell someone, it was way off. If I had the box, I would just turn it to the side and show you. But all of them are going to be a little bit different depending on the system. There was something else. Oh, upkeep. Upkeep on your LAURASTAR iron. Easiest thing in the world. Oh, thank you. I'm so glad I have Ger in the background. So upkeep on our LAURASTAR irons. Once a month, we want you to flush your system. It's so easy. It's scary the first time, and that's it. I just posted some videos on my YouTube channel on how to flush the system of the lifts and the systems. But if you have a lift, I'm going to bring this over here. You're going to see this little plug right here. Once a month, I always say on the beginning of the month, you're going to take this. Let's see, do you have to replace the filters? I have the red one that flashes, and I don't know what that means. Sandy, yes, that means it's time for you to replace your filter. You can get them at Mole Queen, and it's going to be a pack of 3, and that's going to last you at least a year or almost a year, depending on your usage. But once a month, you're going to take your LAURASTAR to the sink if you have a lift or an Izzy. You're going to give it a shake. This is a plug, and there's a little screw right here. Use a quarter to take that screw out and dump the water out. That is your upkeep. That's all you have to do. You're just going to do that once a month. If you are using a system, here they come with a little bucket, and you have to do some stuff on the bottom. The same thing, you're going to flush water through, put it back together. It takes less than 5 minutes once you get used to what you're doing. It's super, super easy. And that's all your upkeep is. Does it remove the friction marks on fabric? Absolutely. Now, can they come back? Yes, because it's not taking the ink out of the fabric, but it will. It is hot, so it's going to remove the marks. So anything that is heat removed, the LAURASTARs will still do. Ger, am I missing anything? I think that's it. I just love it. I find that, again, as quilters, we want the perfect tool or the right tool for the right job. We spend a lot of money on our sewing machines. We spend a lot of money on fabric. We invest a lot of money into our projects. And when you find something that's just works and you realize, oh my gosh, where has this been? It's one of those like light bulb moments. And I feel like that was what I got with my LAURASTAR, especially when I got the system and I got the fan. Because this is great, but I was like, oh, I need that board. I need that fan. And I always tell the story. The day I realized that everybody needed one of these, I had a very intricate, very similar to a Dear Jane block, lots of tiny pieces and a lot of seams. But we also had a black tie event to go to. I was actually standing right here because I had the iron out here at the moment. And I was ironing quilt blocks and then ironing silk, like a cummerbund and a pocket square and a bow tie, and just jumping back and forth because I had this project that had to get done, but we also were leaving pretty soon. So it was just jumping back and forth, having the ability to not change any, to not change any temperature, to be able to do whatever I want and go back and forth. If you're someone who makes bags like soft and stable, when you fold over that soft and stable, a lot of times you're folding it over to zipper, and you need to top stitch. It's really hard to get that soft and stable to fold. This with the LAURASTAR Steam, you fold that soft and stable and you press it really quick. It presses almost as flat as just 2 pieces of fabric. It just, there's so many places that the LAURASTAR just outshines everything else because of the way that its steam is produced. So, friction needs to be washed to truly go away. Correct. If you're going to send it to Minnesota, the lines are going to come back.
Okay, I'm
looking
back.
around.
How
I
about
think
that?
that's it. And Jer's back.
I kept coming back. I was coming back to message.
I saw you like.
I don't know. I kept bouncing in and out. I got a concussion now. So.
And you know me, I just keep talking.
So who has
me.
more questions for Adam? Let's see. Well,
So let's
I was going to ask you, which one, if you didn't have any of them at all, which one would you not be able to live without? Like if you had to get rid of all
knowing
of them,
knowing what I know today, this by far, the Smart 1980 or the Smart U, because they are the same unit, I love it. I use every little piece of it. I love the ease of it. It is dedicated quilting iron for everything and lives in my quilting room. It's always up, never getting covered. I like the ease of fill and everything. But I also know that this is a pretty big investment for some people. So if I were getting a system, easily the Smart U or the Smart 1980, if I was getting a lift, knowing what I know now, it would be one of the lift extras because I want that full aluminum 3D sole plate. I like the plus and I still use it. I still make myself use it. I like to be able to tell people that, yes, you can do this, but more so I like to actually do it. So I'm not just saying, yeah, you can do it, but I do it at home. Let's see. What is the difference between...
I think she meant just the extra.
The S Pure Extra?
Yeah.
And this special edition. So what's the difference between the S Pure Extra and the special edition? A ton. So the S Pure Extra is going to be just a full different system. The way this is bugging me because I'm cutting my head off. So the way that the S Pure Extra looks, it's the board's a little bit different. The board cover's a little bit different. The iron's a little bit different. Just everything, there's just a difference all around. It's still going to give you a 3D sole plate. So you're going to get an iron head and 3D sole plate similar to this one with the plastic insert, whereas the special edition, the 1980. Wait, I wonder if Ger, do you think she's asking about the S Pure Extra and this like the Smart 1980 or the
I think it's the two.
The Lift Plus and the Lift Extra.
No, I think it's
which is special edition.
These two guys. Let me post them up on the screen real quick. I think she's talking about this guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then this, and then your Smart 19.
Okay. So the difference is there on the S Pure Extra, different board, different cover, different iron head. Thank you, Ger. You can see it just looks a little bit different. It's not as sleek. Still going to get a steam cord holder. It's a little bit different. The fan's going to activate when you touch the steam buttons. It's going to have I don't believe that one has pulse steam. It's just going to have a few fan speeds. When you come up to here with the Smart 1980, then you're going to have the one universal temperature control. You're going to have pulse steam, sense steam. You have 4 different speeds on that fan. The filter's a little bit different, and the cord holder's a little bit different. Just they've improved some things over the years, so this is the most recent release of the iron. So it has everything. Please confirm the water to use. I was told since I had soft water to use bottled spring water. You were told correctly. If you have soft water, reverse osmosis, you're going to use bottled spring water. If you never distilled, just never distilled water, the systems will overfill. So I'm in Palm Springs, so I have water similar to a lot of you in the Arizona area, or depending on where you are in the States. So we have really hard water. Somebody asked, can I use a Brita filter with the water and with the hard water? Nobody had an answer. We actually went back to Switzerland and asked, and they just said nobody's ever asked. So I've been using my water with the Brita. I think it works a little better because, again, we have really hard water. I always say our shower head goes like this because anybody with hard water understands what I'm talking about. So I have been using it with the Brita, and it's been working great. So I like to say, like, every once in a while, I use a bottled water and tap water. It just depends on if I have bottled there, or I might refill like every third one with tap water and use bottled water. Like the bottled water is cleaning like Chevron Decron. I don't know. I'm weird. I'm weird, and that's what works for me. But I have been using pretty much exclusively the bottle or the tap water with the Brita because I want to see if it changes anything. And I do feel like I've seen a little bit of a difference. Like the steam just feels really good. Although it always does. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the whole time you've been talking, I've been over here just going like that.
You are so silly. Take that to the wedding.
There you go. I'll iron out my suit, or steam out my suit rather. So
Yeah.
we're normally in a studio. I just kind of want to highlight where I'm at right now. I'm hiding actually in my warehouse. So let me zoom out a little bit. There's my.
What location are you?
I'm in my Mesa store. So I'll show you a little bit, but there's our studio for the day.
I love your wall of Laura stars.
I know, right? We have plenty to sell.
While you're showing off the studio, don't forget, everyone, you can go to molequeen.com. Any of the Laura stars are going to be have a discount code, so you can get them discounted at off the already lowest price you're going to be able to find anywhere. So that's fantastic. We do have, I think there's specials if you do a lift and a steam cart together. Am I right?
Yeah, I can actually, let me go ahead and share my screen real quick.
Yes, show us how we can spend money and buy things.
There you go.
I always tell people, I'm going to tell you where you can get the best deal. Not so you go and spend money, but so you go and save money.
There you go. Yeah, so right here on our website, just molequeen.com. You can go there. If you go to, if you just click the link above in the actual description, you'll see it there as well. But molequeen.com, go ahead and click that. Right here on the banner, there's this nice, pretty Laura star. So you go ahead and click that, and it brings you right to the section. So as you scroll through, you've got everything from your filters, the universal steam cord, more filters, the cart. That's the lift cart. And then the Izzy cart's hiding up here somewhere, right here. So like the Smart 1980, we can't say what it is that you're getting extra, but if you look right there, that's what it is. So it's it retails for $3,400. We have it on sale for $28.99, and then right there is the extra sale. So right there. All right, cool. Not blatant as day, is it? So as we scroll through, you've got everything from the Smart 1980, and then up here are the different lifts. So actually, hold on. So the original lifts are right here, and then up here at the top, you've got the Lift Plus, which are the real pretty colors. You've got the Pinky Pop, the Sky Blue, and then the black, Ultimate Black. And then over here, you've got the Lift Extra. So this is where you get the extra discount if you add on the cart. So up here on the top, you go ahead and pick your different color that you want. All three colors are going to be the same price, and then you can select if you want the cart as well. So if you do want the cart, you can add. If you want the cart, you use that code, and if you don't want the cart, you select no thank you, and I keep clicking the wrong thing. And then you use that code. I tried to make it.
Well, you couldn't have made it any easier.
I'd
But
be
that
able
cart
to-
bundle is just for the Lift Extra, correct?
That the cart bundle is just for the Lift Extra, correct? Yeah. So
Which is, if I were getting one today, I'd be getting that one. Probably the aluminum color, because that one's my favorite. But a lot of people like the gold. It's so weird.
I've got 2 of them right here, just waiting to go home. They're just begging. I can hear them right now. They're screaming at me.
Take me.
Yeah, there you go. So I've got Sally that wants to know if she can come into the store and still get the extra discount. Yes, but today only. Otherwise, you have to buy online. That would be the caveat to that. The extra sale is going to be on the website for the next week or so until everyone has a chance to rewatch this live. And then the store today, we also have our fun club. So let me see, pull up the email real quick. I'll share my screen.
Do you have a system? Do you have a system on the floor in the shop?
I don't. I sold. Well,
I didn't say I thought you sold it.
Yeah, you sold majority of the ones that we had at the show, and then we had the one floor model, and then I sold that at the end.
Right.
And then we actually had one come back. Reason being was they were like, we don't think we're going to use it, but we're probably going to end up buying a Lift Extra. So that was that. But I would have that here. I would be able to sell it, except Lynn McNally, she's been commenting in here. She came in and she said, get me a deal. So I gave her a deal, and it's arguably better than what I'm offering here on the thing, on the live on my website. So come in, yell at me, tell me you want a deal, and we'll make a deal. So I've got, I know you saw behind me, but I've got Lift Extras. I've got regular lifts. The only thing I really don't have are the systems or the Izzy. But if you do order it, it does drop ship from where?
Illinois.
So if you do order something that I don't have in stock, it will drop ship from Illinois, and probably UPS, FedEx, because it's too big for the postal service. So one of the two.
We ship UPS, and
UPS.
Usually we get orders out the day after we receive them. So usually.
You can't come into Glendale to get the extra discount because I'm not there. So if you come into my Mesa store, it's worth the drive. I'll tell you, you'll get a better deal than you'll spend on gas. So, which means it's a lot because gas ain't cheap. So, anyone have any more questions for Adam, or do we let him get on with his Saturday?
With my
Keep holding him
Saturday.
hostage here.
Hey, you know I love it. I think this was my idea, remember?
I think so too. After the show, he texted me, he goes, hey, when are we doing this live? We need to get live. I was like, hey, you let me know. He's like, next week I'm busy, and I said, oh, what are you doing? And so he was partying it up on vacation. And so
I went to Vegas, and then you went to Vegas.
And then I went to
now
Vegas.
we're not in
We
Vegas.
drove past each other.
Yeah, that's so funny.
The only store that currently has a sample of the machine is going to be the Mesa store. Adam is working on getting classroom models to get into the other 3 stores, but mainly our Tempe store with the event center. And when we're done talking about these for a little bit, I'll go ahead and show you a little bit more about the event center, just in case you haven't seen it. Show you what upcoming events we have, that kind of thing. So Lynn says, I'm on my way to Mole Queens for a Saturday fun club. Had to turn off the live feed for a few minutes and turned it back on in my car.
I love it.
My warehouse lights just turned off. Adam, entertain him for another.
Let me entertain you. Well, I can't ask you for any other questions. I'm trying to think of questions we get. The biggest question is going to be that 3D sole plate. like I said, it does take some getting used to. It's a new way to iron, but the results are so good. It's so worth it. So just stick it out. Again, if I were doing it today, I have the blue one. I still use the blue one. I would have got the Lift Extra. The price difference just made sense to get the one that's a little with the full aluminum sole plate, because it does make a pretty big difference. In my mind, it makes a pretty big difference. For those of you who have the red or white systems, these did not come with a steam cord holder, so look about getting your universal steam cord holder, especially if you have an iron that, or if you're using it and that cord's just getting in the way. Easily attaches to your, oh, I just hit myself in the head. Easily attaches to your ironing board, so you can use it with anything. I entertained.
There you go.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been so much fun.
Someone said I missed the response on how to extend the timer. Ooh, can I answer this one?
Yeah, I'm going to judge you.
Okay, I watched the whole time. I watched. I was listening, learning. So I've got my my beautiful Lift Extra. If you come today, I'm actually demoing it in person. She's not quiet. She's just not. She doesn't want to be quiet.
Taking a drink.
Right now. She's steaming up. So if I go ahead and turn it off, okay. When you turn it on, it starts up. Normally, it's hot right now, so it's not heating up. But typically, this will just sit there flashing, and then it'll heat up, get the steam ready. But if you turn it off and you hold this down for 10 seconds or so, you'll see these two red lights flash any minute now.
We should have started counting.
There we go. So don't tell Laura Star that we taught you how to bypass their safety feature, but we did. So.
We do. We tell you that. Yeah, so and like I said, it will stay hot all day. So and for 2 weeks if you leave on vacation. Somebody told me that. We left our iron on. You know,
I've walked into our Tempe store after we had an event, and we've got, 15 different drop downs, like electrical kit cords, and there'll be 30 tables set up with the little palm irons at the time. Right. In the future, it's going to be a bunch of these, but those little palm irons, they don't really have like a light that turns on or anything like that. So you don't, if they forget to unplug it, it's on. So I walked in and I'm like, it smells like irons. And like I walk inside and there's like 10, 15 different irons on there. So, but someone said, can we extend the ironing board on a LAURASTAR? Extend as in the
height? You can change the height. So like, I think this is probably as high as it goes. I like mine really high. I don't want to be bending over. It goes, so you're going to have the holders on the side. Let me see. I'm going to try to pull you back and we'll see if I can show you. I'll fold this up really quick. Why not? Kind of. So I do have the holders on the side. We're used to holding these and having the full iron collapse. If I make this lower, this is as low as it goes. Basically, it's about sitting height. So if I'm in a chair, I can iron. So if you're someone who has your whole little U station set up where you're machine and piecing and cutting and ironing and just turning your chair around, this does go low enough that you could do that. But that is not how you fold it up. So that's as low as it goes. This is as high as it goes. It's not going to give you a square ironing board just because fashion industry around Europe uses it. So we have a fashion board. It is wide enough to get with the fabric on there though. So when you want to fold it up, I can pop this here and the whole thing kind of collapses. It's like a transformer. So now I'm here. I got to pull this towards me because I'm plugged in. And with my right hand, I'm going to lift the board. And then it's going to hit gravity and fold. And I don't want to get pulled out of the wall. And so now my board is folded up, and I can simply roll it around because it is on wheels. This is a point where I can put my cover on. If you have the Smart 1980. It does come with a beautiful neoprene cover. And then to unfold it, kind of opposite, I'm going to lift the nose until the legs kick out. They have some wheels, so I can let it down. Let it down easy. These come back up. There we go. I saw you put a question up, but you're really far away from me, so I can't.
No, you're okay. So she wanted to know extending the timer. So it's the same way. You just hold the button down the same way.
Yeah. Hold the power button down. Same thing, and it will leave the iron on for the rest of your life.
And then someone said, "Can you use your LAURASTAR Lift Extra in the steam cart when ironing?" That's what it's for, actually. That's how you get it around, and that's how you don't have to pick it up and set it down all the time.
Yeah, so you're gonna roll that iron. What I love is a long arm quilter. I have a 12-foot frame. I put this baby, the blue one was in it. So here's my cart. I'm gonna extend this because I'm just too close. And it was just a steam all the way across, and then it sits over on the side. So it's nice when the iron is here because my iron sits waist height. I don't have to move. I don't have to bend over to use that iron. And I could keep the iron off my ironing table at that point because I had a dedicated place to set it. Because that's the thing, we're quilters. We don't want to lose any cutting table and ironing table space. So in that steam cart, if you're on a solid surface, that steam cart rolls really good. It's still going. I rolled it across the show floor one time. Oh, here. You're like seeing everything in my entryway. So it's a very nice cart. Ger's showing you too. Goodbye. It's going to run into you. But yeah, so you can definitely use it. This is a silicone heat pad as well with the lift carts. So that iron can sit there all day. It's going to stay nice and hot. It has a hook. There we are for your Teflon protective sole plate. So when you are ironing off the curtains and things, it's fantastic. And because it is a hygienic steam, you can use it to steam your dog beds and do everything. And you could do that with the lifts. I just find it easier with the steam wand of the Izzy. Or the Iggy. No, the Izzy.
Is there a way to hang it on the wall?
Hang the iron on the wall? I'm going to say no.
Yeah.
It would have to be pretty reinforced.
I mean, if you had a pretty hefty shelf, you could possibly.
You'd have to have a very, because where the holding part is, it's on the center. So you'd have to have something that was far enough out so it was kind of hanging away from the wall. Yeah, so I would just say no. But, like our Prestige board, some of our boards have a place to sit it. So I think our Plus board has a place right here where the iron can sit off to the side so you're not on the ironing board. The Prestige board has a shelf under here where the iron can sit so you're not taking room up off your board.
And then I usually iron on a wool mat. Will it work on that?
You can use it on a wool mat. Keep in mind that your wool mat will hold some of that heat and some of that moisture. So the fabric's going to feel a little bit damp, more damp than if you were off the wool mat. I used a wool mat with my blue one for a really long time. If you are using it and you have the blue or that you have a plus or an extra, that 3D sole plate, if you're pressing and not ironing, you're going to get an indentation of that 3D sole plate because it's going to kind of melt into that, not melt, melt's the wrong word. The mat isn't stiff, so it's going to kind of depress into the mat. So you want to make sure that you're moving the iron on those and not doing the pressing kind of thing because you're just going to get like basically a 3D sole plate stamp. I was just talking to someone the other day that used a wool mat. She goes, "Oh, that all makes really, really good sense."
So does the wand come with the lift extra and the cart? I'm assuming
the wand does. No, so the wand. So this is the Izzy, and so the steam wand is only available on the Izzy. It's like a whole home. steam iron. You can use it on your clothes. You can use it on your surfaces and your couches and stuff to disinfect. So it's like spring steam cleaning with the Izzy. And then the lifts are, instead of having the steam wand, the lifts come with an iron. So if you want to do ironing, you're going to get yourself a lift. You're going to get yourself a system. If you're like, oh, I want to use that steam around the house, other than the iron, that's when you're picking up the Izzy. Or if like I said, if you have a long arm and you have a dedicated other space where you need something where you only need the steam, not necessarily pressing, because you're not pressing anything with the Izzy. It's strictly a steam wand.
All righty. Well, did you have fun?
I always have fun.
I know.
I love it.
It's always a blast to hang out with me.
You're leaving here to go right into another class, so I love it.
I know.
I'm missing out. I want to be there. Hey, isn't it Jelly Roll Race Day?
Before it's over. What's that?
I cannot make it there. That's 30 minutes. Isn't it National Jelly Roll Race Day? Or is it Jelly Roll Race Month? Let me show you what I made.
Oh, yeah, you were talking about that.
A lot of times, I don't think people realize I'm a real quilter. So I'm like, I have to show things.
You're just an Instagram quilter, right?
I'm just an Instagram quilter. I'm not even good at Instagram. I'm a YouTube quilter. So I made a Jelly Roll race. We're doing a Jelly Roll race event at my local quilt shop today. So I made this one, and this is done with one of the gelato jelly rolls from Maywood. And then I use some spacers and it's Andover something. I don't know what the fabric is. Oh, I can't. I think I tore my rotator cuff. Did I tell you that? But
yeah, you did.
I think it came out pretty nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's because the fabrics are variegated. I thought it came out really, really cool. And it's the first time that I've ever pressed a jelly roll as I went, and I pressed all the seams open with my LAURASTAR. So it lays so flat. I'm just so proud of myself.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
It was supposed to get long arms. It hasn't.
Maddie said hi to me, but she neglected to say hello to you. So
well, thanks.
I'll have to have some words with her.
Tell her to stop.
Kristen said hi, and actually Maddie's mom said hi earlier. Another Kristen. And then Dixie said, yes, National Sooo Jelly Roll Day. It's a Moda holiday. So,
hey, we're sewing a jelly roll with the non-Moda jelly roll. Oh, it's a 2.5-inch strip set. All right. Well, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
If other questions come in, you can. I'm over at ADAMSEWFUN everywhere, SEW. So if you have questions, you can always reach out to me. So you're not bugging the shop. But definitely go and check out the deals. Like, they're probably the best ones in the nation today. Today only. One night only.
Yep. So Maddie finally said hello, by the way. So
thank you, Maddie.
All right, Mr. Adam. Well, it's been fun. We will have to have you out. Hopefully that secret thing we were talking about.
The secret thing works out. We'll talk. We'll talk next week because I think we figured out the plan for your classroom machines.
Cool. All righty. Well, yeah. So we'll get some classroom machines so everyone can see, and then hopefully we'll see Adam here at another quilt show in the near future, as in January and February, possibly. At QuiltCon, maybe.
I'm expensive.
Hey, I mean, we sell enough of them. It works. It works out.
It's worth it.
So all righty.
All right.
Well, thank you, sir. We appreciate it. I'm gonna show some other stuff off, and everyone say thank you to Adam. It's like I'm a classroom teacher.
Hey, at the end of the day, it's just quilting. Go have a good time.
Thanks, Adam. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too.
Bye-bye. All righty. Let's see who just texted me. Kristen Ball. She said, looking great. Can't wait to see you and meet this brave woman. That's funny. All right, so let me show you a couple things I've got hiding around here for you guys. So I've got to share. Let me close out of this real quick. All right, present. I'm a little rusty. We haven't gone live in a while, so let's see. All right, so this is molequeen.com. I'm sure you're familiar with it. If you're not, get yourself acquainted. So we have everything. If we don't have it, let us know and we'll get it. So starting here at the front, I mean, you guys all joined us for the LAURASTAR Live, so you click that banner right there, and that's where all of your LAURASTAR items are going to be. Everything from universal covers for most ironing boards, all the way up to the creme de la creme. I don't know why that picture is so small. I've got to fix that. But we've got the Smart 1980, the beautiful gold, matte gold finish. It's a pretty iron. You know, it's funny. There's what, 8, 9 of us mole queens in the business, and the only one that sews is my sister Ashling, because she teaches classes. But outside of that, there's not another mole queen that sews. However, I want this iron. Don't tell Darren. I'm gonna push that one out the door. But these irons are great. I watched Adam for 3 days straight at the last Rusty Barn show in September, and that thing was awesome. I demoed it myself, and I actually demoed to 2 customers and sold one of the 2 customers. So it sells itself. You guys see it once I get these in stock, the Smart 1980s, or just a smart system in general. You guys you'll fall in love with them if you see them in person. I want to just show you a couple things. So on this banner, as you see it ticking across, we've got the Avenir, the Brother Avenir, the new baby. It's not so much of a baby. It's like a very large baby. It's beautiful. The Avenir is the new top of the line Brother machine. It's got a massive hoop. If I'm not mistaken, it's 18 and 5/8, 18 and 3/4, something like that. It's huge. Okay, so this guy right here, this is actually what I'm sitting on. So let me stop sharing for just a second so I can show you guys what I'm talking about. So this guy, we have the Mole Queen sewing chair. So the cool part about it is, I'm sure you're familiar with the Arrow sewing chairs. So we just reupholstered it. We have a storage area underneath, the perfect lumbar support. It's hydraulic, so you can go up and down, get to your sewing desk height. And let's see. The purpose of showing that chair. So if you do purchase or pre-order a Brother Avenir, it's a $500 refundable deposit. If you do put that deposit down, you get this chair. Okay, you get it. It comes with it. I mean, all you have to do is buy the machine, but the chair is a $500 chair that comes free, amongst like tens of thousands of dollars worth of other items, including the machine. But let's see. Let me go back to sharing my screen one more time. I've got to get downstairs. 15 minutes until Fun Club, and I'm demoing. So let me get back over here. Let's share this one more time. So if I come back up here to the top to molequeen.com, I just want to show you guys one more thing. Click there, pre-order. Can I give myself a pat on the back how pretty our website looks now? It's just so plain, so simple, but dare I say elegant. I don't know. I've done my best. I'm cleaning it up as we speak. No, not right now, but all right. So that banner right there was the event banner. So events, we hold events, we hold classes. The differences between our events and our classes is typically our events range from a full day up to sometimes 3 days. However, our events are just unlike anywhere else. We supply a luminaire or whatever machine is being used at the time. So if it's sewing, we're supplying. Most of the time, we're supplying a Janome M8 or 9480 or a Luminaire XP3, XP2. So top of the line machines, and we've got like upwards of 30 to 50 of them at any given time out on the floor waiting for you guys to use them. So these classes are filling up quick. So if you're familiar, I think everyone is, with Janine Babich. She's coming out. She's doing a trunk show. We've got 36 seats left in that. We just threw that guy up there. And then we've got Honeybee Embellishments. So this is a brand new, never before seen class. It's Debbie Homer and DJ Anderson. I'm sure you're familiar with them. They're bigwigs over at R&K. But now they've got this Honeybee Embellishments. So they teach you literally everything that there is to know about embroidery. And the cool thing is it's a custom class. So you show up, and they give you a list of what you want to learn that day, and you select from it. And so it's it's a unique class, and everyone gets to learn something that they either want to know more about or never have heard of. So it's really neat. You can scroll through here, read more about it there. Now, here's one that pertains to today. If you scroll down, this one right here, become your own quilting hero. So, I thought I was a comedian when I was writing this. So even if you're not planning on signing up for this class, it's worth just coming in here and reading this. It's the only time that they've ever let me write a class description, and it's probably the last time. It's funny. It's lighthearted, but the become your own quilting hero. So if you're tired of paying someone to finish your art, because we all know you put your blood, sweat, and tears sometimes into these quilts, and it is art. So you see if long arming's right for you. Join us for a 2-day quilting adventure. The lunches are provided, and then never before seen discounts. We're all about saving you guys money. So if you sign up now, I want you to read the full description before signing up. The reason being is it's geared towards people that have no idea if they even want a long arm. They've just kind of played around with the idea. This class is to get people in that don't own long arms, that want to know if they want to be a long arm quilter. It breaks it down into kind of the average cost of a quilt, the average cost of owning a long arm, and how it breaks out to kind of break even. And then if you kind of start saving yourself money after 3-4 quilts. So it's definitely worth looking into. I've got the first one sold out, and I've only got 8 seats available for the Friday and Saturday, which is the 15th and the 16th of November. So that's that. Let me stop sharing this real quick, and I'll come back over here. Let's see. Website is nice and clean of typical web overload. Yeah, I cleaned up the front page. Obviously, if you go further back, we've got 50,000 different products. There's a lot. So we've got, over 10,000 bolts of fabric on the floor. There's another 30,000 bolts of fabric that aren't even on the floor, that are just waiting for one bolt to empty and go throw another one on the floor. We've got more fabric than we'll ever know what to do with. But we pride ourselves in selling fabric for pretty much most of our fabric is $7.95 a yard. And I know I hinted at it earlier. I haven't done a lot of lives. We haven't done a lot of lives as of recent. So this is our first live back. We're an hour and 50 minutes into it. But Adam had mentioned something about Tula Pink. I got a bunch of Tula Pink fabric to sell you guys. It's fabric that we looked up. It's selling for $13 to $16 a yard. Some of it up at $19 because I've got some wide backs in there. So I'm selling it for $5.55 a yard. That's it. I'm going to sell some bundles, and I'm going to sell yard cuts. Same way I used to do it. You comment how many yards you want. I've got, X number of yards on one bolt or multiple bolts, and I call names off until that yard's completely sold and go from there. So I don't have a date yet, but it's the very, very, very near future. We will be also doing a live. I like this warehouse setting. Do you guys like this? It's different. It's more of a little kind of like a podcast, more intimate little live stream setting. So we'll go back to our normal kind of normal broadcast and full production, but for the time being, I think this is pretty. So we'll slowly switch up what we're doing, but if you guys have any questions for me, email me at info@moldqueen.com. I mostly respond 7 days a week, just depends. If you have any questions, email me there. But outside of that, if you have any questions in the next minute or two, go ahead and post it here. I'm going to go ahead and sign off because I've got to get that iron downstairs and go sell some stuff. So join us, come into the Mesa store, come see me. I'll show you off some of these irons. I've got a bunch of them here. If you place an order, thank you very much. I will make sure to get that ordered and shipped out. If I don't have it, otherwise I'll just grab one of these guys and pack it up and send it out. So if that is that, thank you guys so much for joining us. I will see you on the next one. And yeah, so thanks guys. Bye-bye.